Good morning. This is Daybreak, and thank you for staying with us. The hashtag on X is Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. This morning, my panelists are made up 90% by women, and it's lovely to have them here on the broadcast. Good morning, Lady Justice Lilian Mutende.
Good morning, Ayub.
Lovely to have you here on the broadcast.
It's my pleasure.
On a lovely day, just a day after we had our first woman Attorney General. Asante sana for coming. She is the chairperson of the National Community Service Orders Committee. Wangari Kagai, on my immediate right, is the head of public litigation at the Law Society of Kenya. Good morning, Wangari.
Good morning, Ayub.
Thank you. Lovely having you here on the broadcast. Dr. Annette Mbogo is the executive director, Kituo cha Sheria. Good morning, Dr.
Good morning.
Lovely having you here on the broadcast. And Demas Kiprono is the acting executive director at the ICJ Kenya. Thank you, Demas.
Thank you for
lovely having you here on the broadcast.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about the plan to decongest our prisons. There are several plans, and this, fortunately, is a multi-stakeholder effort in bid to depopulate Kenya's prisons, which are stretched beyond their capacity under the chronic overcrowding crisis. Before we begin with the accounts of what's to be done, let's take a look at this graphical representation of so far what we have sourced from a speech by the Chief Justice Martha Koome, and also the task force report by Chief Justice Emeritus David Kinani Maraga. And for instance, in the Nairobi region, the total number of inmates so far are 9,458. Convicts are 2,496, double that number who are unconvicted but still are in prisons, 4,962. This is where now the dilemma lies. Also, in Nairobi region, industrial area remand and maximum prison is operating at 200% of its capacity, according to the Chief Justice, which is a concern for stakeholders in the decongestion of prisons. And in the financial year 2023-24, the sentences reviewed were 6,555 and 2,918 individuals were released. We'll talk about the number that continues to remain. According to the task force report by the former Chief Justice David Kinani Maraga, some of the challenges facing the Kenya Prison Service include underfunding, corruption, low pay, poor work and living conditions of the Kenya Prison Service personnel, which he said must be addressed. Prison population also, according to the numbers that we are displaying on your screens at the moment, correctional facilities capacity is total 20,750. The population of prisoners across the country in 2023 is 54,750. This has exceeded the capacity by 34,000, and the occupancy rate at the moment is 161%. And the following numbers also is an indication of the prison population. 41% of that number is at the pre-trial detainees, as displayed on your screens. Ladies and gentlemen, we start on that note, and before I take your accounts in relation to that, first beginning with you, Demas. 24 hours earlier, we had our first woman Attorney General, and who will serve in a crucial docket within the criminal justice system. And given that we had Martha Koome as our first woman Chief Justice, how are women in Kenya breaking the glass ceiling given the achievements that they have made over time, and what does this reflect of the Kenyan society in general?
I think, first of all, women in the legal profession right now occupy higher numbers in terms of admission to the universities and admission also to the practice of law. Number two is that the judiciary is, first of all, the only arm of government that went beyond the two-thirds gender requirement.
Yeah.
And now, as it stands, the judiciary is at 50-50 in terms of judges, magistrates, and registrars. And you know famously that our judiciary is almost entirely led by women.
Yes.
Right now. And so when we see an Attorney General that has now broken that ceiling.
Yeah.
We have the first woman Attorney General. It adds to the progress that we see within the legal profession generally, but also now this is a senior, a person who's probably a member of the cabinet,
yeah.
really, and has served the country at various positions, even in state law and in the ODPP's office.
Yeah.
And so it's a good thing to see women rise,
yeah.
Which is in the spirit of the Constitution, because the Constitution, being a transformative document, really dictated that we also deal with these gender disparities within our society.
Thank you.
And so it is, first of all, congratulations to her.
Yeah. Lady Justice Lillian, a progress made?
Thank you very much. I must start by congratulating the Attorney General. She's a lady who is well educated, assertive, and recognizing women in this country is very, very important. Women have worked so hard, they have progressed, and by being recognized, it's a matter that we do not take for granted. So I must once more congratulate the Attorney General.
Dr. Annette.
Just to also congratulate the Honorable Attorney General. I think within the justice sector, we are seeing quite some bit of transformation around women's representation. But I think that should not close our eyes to the other sectors within government, such as the executive and the legislature, where we're still seeing a lot of women still struggling to break the glass ceiling. And that the judiciary, for example, and the legal sector can be an example to the other arms of government, so that we can see more women holding much higher offices within those two other arms of government.
Yeah. Okay. Wangari Kagai, is this an achievement which is much awaited given the struggle we have had in the attainment of the gender compliance that the Constitution directs?
Ayub, yes, indeed. It's a really proud moment for us as ladies, especially in the legal sector. And to pass also my congratulations to the Honorable AG, Dorcas Odor. She's a lady we've seen as we've come into the profession, practicing in our courts, being very formidable in terms of her role as a senior prosecution counsel. And she has grown through the ranks, and it's really a proud moment for us, especially given that it's the first woman AG. And indeed, it is very progressive towards the attainment, or at least creation of the perception that, or the reality that we are headed towards achieving compliance of the two-third gender principle. You will take note that our president, also at the Law Society of Kenya, was recently elected our second president. So we are seeing strides in terms of attainment of the two-thirds gender principle, both in the political sector, by women, by their own efforts, and also through the consideration and the inclusion by government. But we, like Annette has said, we are hoping that we continue to see these strides, and that there are no clawbacks in terms of that.
All right. Demas, coming to you, and the topic at hand, this is on the plan